Hey there, welcome to my channel. Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing some films that I had the luxury of seeing in 2021. This is the perfect opportunity to flex my film degree. I have my notes here so I don't end up rambling for hours. And just a heads up that there will be spoilers. We should start. So the first film is called Good Time, made by brothers Josh and Benny Safdie. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. So the film Good Time is about brothers Connie and Nick, Nick being mentally disabled. They both decide to rob a bank together. But when Nick gets caught, Connie goes through desperate measures to get his brother out of jail at any cost. And although that synopsis doesn't seem like much, and we've seen many crime stories told before, this film was amazing. If I had to describe this film in one word, it would be adrenaline. The writing is incredible, it's told in a completely new way, and I think what makes this script special is that we're focusing on the journey of desperation that the main character Connie has, and the entire time there is not one moment where you feel like you have a break. Your heart is pounding through the entire film from start to finish, and although the character's actions are not something that you would do, you resonate with what he's doing because you know the desperation of his situation. It's almost as if his brother doesn't deserve to be in the position he's in. The directing is amazing. I think the cinematography is really strong, and a great example of that is the final scene when Connie finally gets caught. Since we don't see his eyes, it's kind of seen as this is the nail in his coffin, he's been officially caught. It was just so good. There's almost nothing that I would change about it. The use of music and sound in the film was amazing. It didn't distract from what was going on. The film, in my eyes, was absolutely perfect. And you have to watch the film to understand, because I know that the synopsis doesn't sound like anything new, but I promise you the perspective of this film is different from anything I've ever seen. And the theme of desperation in the brothers' films like Uncut Gems is very apparent, and I think that what they do best is take common narratives and shift up a new perspective on it. So I definitely would rate this film 4.5 stars out of 5. The only reason why I wouldn't give it a 5-star is because as a viewer I felt like I was missing a sense of closure at the end of the film. But simultaneously at the same time, I thought that's what made the film even better. So 4.5 stars, please, I'm begging you to watch Good Time. It shows Robert Pattinson in a completely new light. It shows his range. Absolutely love the film. Tenet, directed by Christopher Nolan, is about a secret agent who's given the mission to prevent a World War III that involves future technology that the modern world does not understand. That is the best way I can describe the synopsis without giving away any spoilers. I really wanted to like this film. When I first finished watching the film, I couldn't really pin what the issue was and why I couldn't get into it, because quite frankly the acting was really great, the cinematography was really great, the editing was smooth, the music was awesome. I really just think that it boils down to the pacing of the script. I did not get into the first half. I ended up watching this over the course of 3 days, but the last hour of the film I was greatly intrigued, and I'm happy that I watched it and that it was concluded. But I do think that the initial and original idea is really new and fresh and interesting, especially for a Christopher Nolan film where, you know, time and space is a common theme. But I think what prevented me from really getting into this film was the fact that the first half of the film is very slow, and not in a good slow burn way. In films like Gone Girl, like in David Fincher films in general, they are typically slow, but because the viewer is piecing together the events that are happening, along with the main characters, you don't really feel the sense of time go by. And I feel like with this film, Tenet, I was watching the main character ask for clues instead of feeling as if I was figuring out the clues with him. So quite honestly, if I were to watch the second half of the film by itself, I would have a great understanding of what the film is like, and I would be getting to the action. And that could just be because I'm maybe an impatient viewer. I do think that the cinematography was very simple, especially for a Christopher Nolan film, but given the complexity of the storyline in general, I think that was a smart choice because you were able to connect with what was going on a lot better than if they were to be Inception-esque cinematography. Overall, I gave this film 2.5 stars out of 5. I do understand why people like it though. I think that the story idea is amazing, and to me, half of a great film is just a great idea. The next film is Uncut Gems by the same directors as Good Time. Uncut Gems is about a New York jeweler who has piles and piles of debt from his dangerous loan sharks, who risks everything he has for a high stakes bet in order to stay afloat, alive, and in order to have it all. The things that I loved about the movie was the character development. Usually there is a character arc in the film, and I think what makes this film great is that the character is pretty much the exact same from start to finish because he doesn't view his actions as detrimental at all. Throughout the entire film, we see the main character get so close to paying off his debts and him continuously risk it all for something bigger. This is seen by the many opportunities that the main character has in order to pay off his debts, in order to keep his family safe, in order to no longer put himself in danger, and he's constantly risking those opportunities for a bigger payoff, for a sense of accomplishment. And I think that the way that it's presented to the viewer is very smart. It's almost as if the film comes full circle by the end because you see how many opportunities he's passed up in order to have this huge payoff, and it really shows how his actions are a detriment to himself. And what's even more interesting is that the main character doesn't view his actions as wrong. It's almost as if he doesn't need to understand how horrible his actions are because, quite frankly, at the end, in a way, it does pay off. The ending is kind of the ultimate happy ending if you think about it, but it's kind of like at what cost? And it has the same energy as Good Time. The directors have this theme that they carry on across both films, Good Time and Uncut Gems. It's the same feeling of adrenaline and uneasiness throughout the entire film. It's the same sense of desperation that carries and drives the main character. So if you like Good Time, which you should watch if you haven't, you will love Uncut Gems. I gave this film 3 stars out of 5 stars. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I would watch it again, and the ending definitely is what makes the film. Watching it, it's a different experience because you're following the mental journey of the character, but the end is what makes it amazing. And I like that I wasn't able to guess the ending because oftentimes film school has ruined me. I can predict the ending of the film within the first 20 minutes because of how you're taught to write a script in film school. But with this film, I got a special surprise, which is what I love most. Next film is Malcolm and Marie, directed by Sam Levinson, and it's about a couple who come back home from a movie premiere and began to argue about the fact that the director, the man in the relationship, did not thank his girlfriend in his thank you speech. And at first, it seems like a tedious argument, and as the film begins to unfold, we see the deeper meaning and the deeper issues within that relationship and within his action of not thanking his girlfriend in his thank you speech. This film has mixed reviews on Letterboxd. I personally love this film, and I think the reason why the film has mixed reviews is because people are taking this film as a love story. But my perspective of it isn't a love story at all. It's more about the sacrifice for art and relationships and how far people will go at the cost of recognition for their art. So one common theme that we see in this film is pride, and how he essentially takes his girlfriend's life, turns it into a film, and completely discredits her involvement in it. The writing was absolutely amazing. I think that if this was never turned into a film and you were to choose to read the script, it would be just as impactful, and the subtext was executed beautifully. I love how everything in the film comes full circle. I do think that there were times where you could tell that the writer was rambling his own personal issues into the characters as they were talking, but I didn't mind that too much because it wasn't in a distracting way. It came from a place of realism. I think that the use of music in this film was really great, and the director Sam Levinson has done that before, like in his films Euphoria. He almost uses the songs in the film as subtext. The choice of black and white in this film is to showcase how strong the script is on its own, and I liked how the cinematography and the editing was only there to visually show what the script was saying. I know that this film isn't for everyone, but I do think it's definitely worth watching. I think that the writing is very smart in that it uncovers a lot in the characters, and I'm really trying not to give too much away. And even though a lot of people have disagreeing opinions than what I have, but I think that the story within itself is more intriguing than, let's say, Marriage Story, because yes, Marriage Story is a very honest story, a very moving story, something that many people relate to. I think that alone, the fact that it's relatable to other people, is why the film did so well outside of the amazing production. But with this film, I feel like the core of the story is so strong that it offers a different perspective of things that we've seen before. An honest take on the arguments you have in a relationship, how you can say something so hurtful and almost take it back with something as simple as making someone macaroni and cheese. So I rated this film a 4 out of 5 stars, but I could be a little bit biased because I'm in love with the director and the actors and the script. But I definitely do think it's worth watching, even if, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more film reviews, comment that below. I tried to keep the films more on the positive side because I know how much work goes into making a really, really bad film. But if you want me to rant about horrible films, then please comment that below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.